A very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2018 IPA Pool World Championships final, live from the Cedar Court Hotel here in Bradford on Free Sports. We're delighted to be with you. Really looking forward to this one. It is Simon Ward taking on Ben Davies for that trophy you see right there. It is a pretty impressive trophy, one that both players will really want to get their hands on. It is a best of 7 sets, so first to 4, and each set is best of 7 frames. A race to 4 frames. Stephen Jameson here on the commentary alongside Dan Davey, and Dan, we're really looking forward to this one. Look how beautiful that trophy looks, and it means you're the world champion. Both of these players have yet to win this world championship. What would it mean to them?
It would probably mean everything, to be honest. These two guys have played against each other. They probably played tens of thousands of frames against each other over the years, so right back from junior level, Wales under 16s, where they were both multiple world champions at junior level. So Ben Davies did actually win the world championships about 10-12 years ago, the 3PO version before we changed the black ball rules, but he is a previous world champion, and Simon Ward's won probably everything but the world championships.
There is Simon Ward. He has been a bit of a fixture on Free Sports this week. We saw him in the very first match of the competition where he took out Mark Boyle in an absolute epic. Went the full distance, that one, into a deciding frame. That's how close he came to exiting the stage at the very first hurdle. He's done wonderfully well to get through to this stage. He's had to face some excellent opponents, and he's really had to battle hard. Namely, of course, Dan, against yourself, so he definitely hasn't had it easy.
Let's just concentrate on the final, shall we?
First frame.
No, yeah, last 16, another 3-2. Simon knows how to win tight matches. He can blitz people. He's just he's the all-round player. But these two, in my opinion, it's a coin toss. If they play 10 world finals, it'll be 5 each, in my opinion. They're that good and they're that closely matched.
Here's a replay of the opening break, of course, so important, and that one is going to come up dry, I think, for Simon Ward, which is not the ideal start, and due to the nature of his cue power, ball's pretty spread here for Ben Davies, who, once he gets into a rhythm, is not a player who likes to hang around. We've seen him as well a couple of times on Free Sports this week. And what's he going to be looking at here, Dan?
Probably going to be looking at
30 seconds.
I would probably say yellows, because in the right bottom right hand corner, as we look at the screen, the red doesn't pass the yellow. But it's one of those tables where it's going to take a bit of figuring out. I mean, they all appear to. You don't appear to have difficult areas or a cluster where nothing goes, but.
So Ben used his extension on the shot clock. Each player gets 1 extension per frame, a 60-second shot clock in action, or if they want to take a little bit longer, they get 1 extension of 30 seconds. Ben using it at the start of this frame just to map out his progress through the balls here.
See there the way Ben's played that red. He must have only had half a pocket because he's played it right off the far jaw, and he's played it at pocket weight too. So it clearly went, obviously, but it only just went, and I think we're going to see Ben. He's going to come down table now, but he's fouled. He's clipped the yellow first. It was tight, but I didn't know it was that tight.
Well, let's take another look at that one. Ben Davies slumped in his chair. And yeah, you're right, he did just clip the yellow on the way through.
And he's clipped it so fine, he's still nearly potted the red.
Simon Ward then with yellows, and there's our ref, Mel Harley, very well respected in the pool scene here, and a good opportunity here for Simon.
Yeah, we'll see. Simon, the obvious thing there to do was he had 1 bad ball, and he's just developed that with his free shot. So 7 balls in the open now, and I fully expect this to go for Simon to take the first frame.
Both of these players, as we've mentioned, know each other inside out. Since they were 10 years old, they've been playing together.
Yeah, it'll be a proud moment for Mike Davies, who's Ben's father, and I think he used to coach the Wales junior teams, and he would have. I mean, Simon and Ben won so many titles at home nations. We used to have a European Championships and a World Championships at junior level, under 16 and under 18s, and probably won at least 10 between them in their junior years. And Mike Davies had an awful lot to do with it, obviously coaching his own son, but he used to coach the whole Welsh youth setup, so he'll be a proud moment for him. I'm sure he's probably going to favour Ben.
if he was forced to choose.
If he's forced to choose, yeah.
Now, I can imagine there's quite a bit of interest in this one back home in Wales.
Ben's dad, Mike, actually a former national trick shot champion as well, so I think he does quite a lot on the exhibition circuit.
Might be where Ben gets his rapid action from.
Flamboyance, definitely, yeah.
Ben, once he gets into a rhythm, is such a brilliant player to watch. Really does not take his time at the table.
See here, Simon's playing a little bit quicker than we've seen him before, but he's typically quite measured, very shot selection is very. He always, his composure is one of his biggest attributes. He knows when to take an extra 10 seconds. He knows when to just hold back a little bit and just have a look at the table, and his composure is one of his probably top things.
Well, here we take a look at his recent tournament history. This is the last 8 tournaments of the calendar year 2017. Got to the British Open final in October, which he was defeated in by Ronan McCarthy. Quarters and semis as well in the UK, and the UK professional, and indeed the European. So had a pretty good 2017, did Simon Ward. This would be the perfect start, obviously, to 2018. If he could make this. And interestingly, just there, Dan, we noticed earlier with Simon's game against Neil Rayburn, towards the end it was so tight, it got very, very cautious. And we noticed that, you know, they were taking such a long time over what seemed like routine pots. He swept up there in the very first frame of the final in no time at all. Give it a couple of hours and that all of a sudden takes 5 minutes longer.
You can do, yeah. I mean, you just want to triple check and just make sure you're doing the right thing when it gets to tight situations in the match. And I think that's definitely what we saw late on in the Neil Rayburn game. But we're only human.
So Ben with the break there, got a good one as well. He's at the table. What's he looking at here, Dan?
So we're going to see Ben probably play this yellow into the middle bag, and he's probably just going to rest, probably about with the tracer left-hand side, and just push this yellow a bit further down towards the pocket. Or he's just going to go reds and totally embarrass me.
Well, the thing is with these two players is they're so difficult to predict because they're two of the most creative players on the circuit.
Yeah, I mean, that's gone wrong for Ben there, and I don't know, perhaps yellow was the ball, but
what you're saying is you should have played your shot.
Yeah, come on, Ben. I can't really argue, can I? Because he sat in the final and I'm sat in the commentary box.
Well, he has got an option, hasn't he? The ball at the bottom of his shot there, near the right middle pocket as we look at it here. That is an option, but it's a far more difficult one than he would have liked.
Pool's one of those games where, after the break shot especially, most times when you look at the table, if you asked 100 top players what they would do, quite often you'd get lots of different answers. You know, there isn't necessarily that there probably would have been lots of players that played Ben's shot, but there probably would have been a few that went yellows as well. I think that unlike other sports, there's so many more variables in pool.
Yeah, the break being the biggest one of that, of course, the thing that sets up the entirety of the frame.
Yeah, the break is the biggest shot in pool. If you can break big and make a ball, then you're going to be favourite for pretty much every match that you play. But the second most important shot is probably the very first shot that you play after the break. And mapping out your clearance. So we like to sort of work backwards from the black. What ball am I going to use last to get good position on the black from? And it's kind of like a little puzzle. Every frame's like a little puzzle, and you just want to figure out what way you think's best.
And it was an ambitious shot from Ben. There's Simon now back at the table.
Yeah, he was forced into it, Ben, but Simon back at the table, and the yellows aren't easy. He needs to develop, obviously, the red and yellow. I'll try and draw a circle for you. Now, obviously, this is the area that he needs to develop. Needs to try and give himself an angle on a ball to get into those. You want to do it as early as possible. We say all the time, if you've got a bad area, you want to get into it as early as possible so that you're likely to be on a different yellow after that shot's played. That's key to the frame for Simon.
Yeah, 2-0 would be a great start if he can manage it. Here's Simon Ward.
I think just winning the first set, it settles your nerves.
30 seconds.
You almost, when you win the first set, you loosen up so much, because you think, well, even if I lose this set, I'm still one each.
Extension.
I'm in the game, and that's all you want. When you're 1-0 down, you know the next set's so much more important for you than it is for your opponent.
Yeah, we've noticed that a few times this week, haven't we? The second set is crucial, because the difference between 1-0 and 2-0 and 1-1 is absolutely huge.
30 seconds.
So you see Simon there, he just played, he just waited until 30 seconds was called before he got down to play his shot. And but by that, just to explain, you have a minute shot clock on each shot, and but you do get one extension of a further 30 seconds per frame, just if you need a little bit of extra time to kind of figure out what you're going to do. But we do have a 60-second shot clock on each shot.
Yeah, you can't blame these guys for wanting to take their time with it. And this is the biggest match of the year.
I think the first,
sure it's right.
First frame we saw Simon pretty fluently clear up, and the reason he did that is because they were easy. You know, when they are easy, sometimes you just need to get down and knock them in.
Yeah, we noticed that. I spoke to Simon after he won his semi-final, and I mentioned to him, did you ever feel like you were in risk of overthinking it and putting more pressure on yourself? And he's like, sometimes that crosses my mind, but I'm just too much for worry. You know, you've really just, he's just focusing, and he might get lucky there.
Oh, wow.
That yellow ended up in the top left pocket.
You are kidding me.
Take a look at this. Well,
You
how's your luck?
are kidding me.
That's an outrageous fluke, isn't it? At the start of a final.
It is. The reason it happened is because Simon was a little bit too straight on that yellow into the middle, so he would never miss the pot normally, but he was trying to make the yellow into the bottom side of the middle pocket to give himself the angle to follow through to, ironically, where the white is about now.
So this is no gimme though, into the corner.
He's wobbled it. Oh, wow.
Sinks. Oh,
Just
your luck's in.
about wiped its feet.
This now will be a fairly straightforward run through here, I think.
I think he's just going to stun it back a little. That's why he's jacking up to, yeah. He's queuing off the cushion, which makes this missable, but expect him to get it.
Which he does. That one was the simplest shot of the lot. And he just has a little handed apology there.
Look at this. I think he just put half a hand up to Ben as kind of a sorry, but I think if they weren't such good mates, he probably would have. I'm ever sorry, but he kind of
I don't think he dared look Ben in the eye there after that one.
Wait till the end of the frame to.
It's Ben's recent tournament history to compare it, and these two actually met in the quarter-final of the British Open, which Simon did so well in. He beat Ben on the way through in last October. Final, the UK professional is his big standout result from last year, beating fellow countryman Jordan Shepherd last summer.
Ben's taken a couple of years out of pool as well. So last year was his first full season back. I think he's playing as a full-time pro as well. So a couple of big other results in kind of just open events, not professional events, and he's had a good season on his first season back, and probably expect big things from him this year.
I think Simon was maybe a little lucky that the white didn't just drop in there, didn't come close. What's he looking at here then, Dan? It's fairly well spread, but choices to be made.
Choices to be made, and I think he's going to go yellows. He's going to take the first yellow into the middle, and we're probably going to see him play a plant next. So we're probably going to see him play a plant on these two yellows. And he's going to bring the cue ball out anywhere here.
Thank you, gentlemen.
He wants the cue ball anywhere here to play this next yellow after he's played the plant. So we're going to see probably a dead weight plant. When I say dead weight, you just pocket weight. You don't want to hit it too hard. Needs to stop or hit the red. He's hit the red. That's fine. So
here's a replay of that one. Nicely played. Just rolled it in.
yeah, I think from that angle you can see it was a bit thinner than it first looked, maybe, so he had to use the red to stop the white. Now he needs to get good position on the yellow in our screen at the moment. Difficult shot this.
Seconds.
The pot's a gimme, but needs to get good position. Use that to spin round. He's played that really, really well with rakes and rakes of left-hand side. And if you see the way that spun and hooked around the cushions, and he's really, really controlled that well. That's exactly where he wanted the white from there. That was the best he could do.
Now, two yellows very far apart from each other. Here.
We may see him play a similar shot, but it depends what angle he's got. He may play this with rakes of side, right-hand side, or he may play it with bottom left. So bottom left needs the kiss to be nice. Half ball would be perfect. That's fairly good from there.
Here's the second view again.
Really good shot. The only thing that makes this missable is the fact that he's cueing. It's effectively bridging over the cushion. I fully expect him to get it. Oh no!
That kiss on the black is horrible for him.
He's so concentrated so much on the pop because of the slightly awkward cueing that he's forgotten to dig into the white enough. That's a poor one from Simon, but you see, if the white was just slightly off of that side cushion, that could never have happened. But because he was cueing slightly off the cushion, it's that little bit more difficult to hit low on the white ball.
And you can see there the black ball doesn't go in the bottom left.
30 seconds.
I think we might be seeing a hit and hope here. I don't see what he can do. Yep, the heave-ho.
He's going to take a look at that, and I think inside his own head he's waving goodbye to that frame.
I think he is. It just depends on whether that red's gone anywhere near the left middle. If it's on the cushion, we see there he really had nothing he could do. And two reasons he played that. One, there was nothing really he could do, but two, you kind of hope to get lucky and hope to push a ball safe, and the way these have landed, he's going to get another shot, which you can see Ben's played a simple safety there. Probably going to get another chance to play something extravagant and hope for a bit of luck, but Simon actually got fairly lucky off of the hit and hope there, because he put a couple
has
of
been in so far in this set as well.
in this tournament. But
well, we won't mention that shot he had against you.
no, it was the right shot to play because as you can see now, the two reds that Mel's got the second cue ball next to don't pass the black into the left corner, which was luck. That's given Simon an extra shot in this frame, and although it's unlikely, I wouldn't be surprised to see Simon pull this off.
Now, the thing is, if Simon hits this, it's not against the realms of possibility. He knocks into the corner.
No way. Left-hand side as well. Needs to catch it thin. What a great shot.
What a shot that is.
What a shot.
Right. Terrific stuff. And that makes it 3-zip to Simon. Tremendous shot this.
See the left-hand side spin there. Without that, he wouldn't have even contacted the black. It's a great shot from Simon.
Well, these two know each other inside out, but these are their most recent head-to-heads on the IPA tour. We mentioned that game in October that they had. They also met in June in the quarter-final. Ben Davies won that one 8-5 of the UK Pro, and in the IPA tour event back in October 2016, Simon Ward won that one.
Fourth frame,
Frames
Ben Davies to break.
Familiar
Tracking
foes
3
more
frames to nil.
off the table than on it, I think, because they practice together all the time. They've known each other since a very, very young age. They know their games inside out.
Yeah, like I say, it's they've played each other many times, but on the pro circuit, Ben's been off the tour for a few years, and so yeah, I mean, I suppose at the very highest level, perhaps haven't played each other as much as it seems, but in local tournaments in Wales, they've probably played in 20 or 30 finals together over the years.
Well, Ben's mentioned earlier on his interview after that semi-final victory that he finally felt like his break was getting going towards the end of that semi-final, and you just see that just seems to be struggling a little bit off the brakes, not falling for him as nicely as he would have liked. That was a difficult shot and eminently missable, as you can see.
Yeah, they didn't come out nice, and he had to get into his bad area straight away. But cueing off the cushion as well, into the middle pocket, it was never an easy shot. And even if he gets it, the frame isn't necessarily still got work to do. So things kind of seem to be running against him at the moment. I think Simon's looking at playing the. He's looking at playing the billiard as his first shot. So I'm going to get him behind it and play the yellow onto the red, which he has done. So he's now reds, and just going to have a little study here.
Got a couple of options. I don't think you can see the potting angle of the reds just hanging out of the pocket, not on the cushion at the top right. He might take the one along the rail, but it's not an easy shot.
I think he'll probably will take the one on down the rail, because if he does miss it, he'll take control of that top left-hand corner pocket.
30 seconds.
He's just pointing his cue over to where he'd like to be after he hopefully makes this ball, and that's going to give him the angle to break into his the red that he was cueing very close to there. It's a great shot from Simon. He's played that again with left-hand side to knock that in, and that's he's left himself the perfect angle now. So we're going to see him play this with a screw, and hopefully after he pops this red into the corner, he'll screw back up table slightly. So now we're probably going to see Simon play this into the corner. Now he's going to screw into this area, and then the cue ball is going to come back up table. And he's going to have to trust to luck. He needs the red he needs this red to come out good. That's where the luck element of it comes in. But if he plays it at the right pace, he's guaranteed to be on one of these balls into the top corner.
Well, you can just see there he's taking a look at the yellows surrounding that little pairing of reds, and no matter how many times he analyses it, he's never going to be able to predict the outcome of this cannon.
No, so again, it's one of those. He may be screwing into it now. Bottom right-hand side, great shot. Has it come out good?
yellow's gone in, that doesn't matter. It's he potted his red, so he doesn't need to worry about that. But the yellow coming off the side cushion has just obstructed him from making what would have been a fantastic shot.
Yeah, the reason he's played that shot is, in theory, he had a good chance of still being on the red into the top left-hand corner, but trusting to luck a little bit. But you were going to be trusting to luck whichever shot you played. But he's got no option now but to play the plant, which you can see him lining up.
It's a tough shot, difficult to judge.
Yeah, so we're just going to see. I think he's just there, just hit the jaw. Is he going to drop? Oh.
Really close. The reason why that was so tough was the distance between the two object balls was quite far, and he needed to. It wasn't a straight plant. Had to get some kind of angle on it. Gave as much chance as he could with the pace on it, and he's a little unlucky. I think it's the first time in this match we can really say that Simon has been a little bit unlucky.
Yeah, I agree. He started really, really well in this match, and chucked a fluke in there as well, but a couple of special shots already to start this final. So, I mean, Ben just needs to pick these off. He's going to take them one by one. You don't really need to break anything out. That you've just got two balls on the cushion. You just need to land on them good. I would love to be able to come through after this. I'd love to be able to get the cue ball near the right middle pocket, but I'm not sure he's got the angle. Just about has. Oh wow! It's gone in and back out again.
Well, he can't believe it. He just had a little word with the referee there. There's nothing.
It's a Cadbury's parrot.
Oh, right smile from Ben, but that's out of your control really as a pool play. He didn't actually seem to play that hard.
Look at this. It goes in. It goes in and comes back out.
He's hit the back of the pocket and it's bounced straight back out. Simon really should clean up from here. It's a gift from Ben Davies, and this will be the first frame then. The first set, I should say, for Simon Ward if this black goes. And whilst he has been excellent for large parts of it, he's had to rely a little bit on a huge stroke of luck here. The black goes, and that is the first set to Simon Ward's perfect start for him. This is the replay of that shot for Ben Davies. And as they re-rack, we'll take a little bit of a break here. It's been an incredible first set. Really, really impressive from both players, and we're looking forward to seeing how they're going to resume in our second set. That's after the break. Welcome back to the coverage of the IPA Pool World Championships. You haven't missed a lot at the start of this second set. Dry break was followed by a couple of missed pots. It's Simon Ward at the table at the moment. He's got 4 yellows left. And he's got a little bit of a complicated plant there, which I'm not entirely sure what he's tried to do. It's not worked out too well for him. Let's have a little look at the break from Davis. This is at the start of this set here. I've missed a good yellow. He was pretty bemused as to how that stayed out. That was where Simon came to the table, so we'll take a look at the state of play at the moment. Ben should get this red away and just green another one in the process. He won't want that to go in, so he's pleased that's held.
Yeah, he was trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone there and go into his red on the side cushion to disturb the red and the yellow that were, just grab that for you, the red and the yellow over here, which when Simon missed, he quite fortunately put his yellow over and basically gave himself a lifeline in the frame by tying Ben's red up. So it's given Ben a problem, and if you were to analyse at the moment who's getting the run of the ball, it's definitely Simon. We've had a pop out, literally it's gone in the pocket and come back out from Ben, and a fluke from Simon hitting the middle jaw off of a red, which is also winning the frame. So you'd think over a long distance match that Lady Luck's going to sort of even itself out, but
absolutely.
At the moment it's definitely in Simon's favour.
Yeah, every chance we could be here for a long night with these two. That's a powerful shot.
It's a great.
A little unlucky, I think, there. Can he double it? Is the first instinct.
I think you're spot on. Yeah, if he can see the full red, he's got no option but to play the double. But
I think that's the best exhibition of cue power we've actually seen on this table this week. He hit that fantastically through to even have a chance of knocking that ball out.
And he is down on the double. He needs this. He's got it.
That is really, really good. And he really does. When he's playing well, when he's confident, he really does punch them into the pockets. Sometimes perhaps a little bit too firm, but we'll come back to that in a minute. He gets his first frame of the final. That'll settle any lingering nerves for Ben Davies. He's away and running in the second set. But let's take a look at what happened in the first. This is the bounce out that he had in the middle pocket. Take a look at that. I mean, that's got to be a real kick in the teeth for any player.
It's one of the most annoying things that can happen. It'll happen once every 6 months to you, but when it does, you just kind of, is it really my day? And then we can see this happen just a frame before from Simon. A missed ball, trying to cheek the pocket, but he's missed it and then clipped a red and gone in off and landed perfect on the yellow. How many daggers to the heart do you want in one shot?
It really was. Well,
second frame,
our
Simon
second semi-final when
trailing 1 frame to nil.
A string of bad luck in the final set, when it sometimes in pool, when if it rains it pours.
See Simon there, he cues inside of his chin, which is it's fairly uncommon. Conventional way, I suppose, is to cue directly underneath your chin. You see a lot of players cue underneath basically underneath their dominant eye, and Simon's dominant eye is his left eye, and it's fairly uncommon actually.
Yeah, a couple of balls down then for Simon here to take a look at, just surveying the table.
Reds are the colour. I think he's just deciding whether to take his trickiest red first,
30 seconds.
which is a bit of a bolder move, and this is missable. But if he wins, if he pots this is effectively frame over, and that's a good shot. Although it has actually come out slightly difficult. He's just flicked the yellow, which has made him run out of position. In hindsight, he needed to hit that a little bit harder, because he's only got a difficult cut into the corner now, which is probably going to be his next shot, because if he plays this one down here, which is possible, he runs the danger of the white going in off.
He is looking at the slightly less dangerous pot, but it's a very challenging one nevertheless.
I think he's nailed it. It's a really good shot. And the pressure was taken off a little bit there by the fact that the two yellows in the middle of the table don't go. It's a great shot there from Simon. A really good shot. This was securing across the table, but
Right in the pocket as well. He's
right in the heart of the pocket.
queuing really nicely.
He is queuing really nice. He's had his one fluke, but he has played really, really well at the start of this match.
Well, he can't say he's not had his chance to get his eye in on this table. He's played quite a few games on it over the course of this week, and every one seems to have really, really been ground out. First game of the tournament against Mark Boyle was a 4-hour-long epic.
Needs to stop. Doesn't need to go behind the yellow. He's just gone behind the yellow.
And that's the margins in this game, which can really, really frustrate players. Well, he's done a lot of hard work there, and that has rolled on by about a centimetre too far.
Millimetre even. I think he played it with a trace of right-hand side to straighten it up, so in his own mind he probably thought that if he overhit it, he was probably going to cannon the yellow anyway, but still a careless shot from Simon.
30 seconds.
So he's going to play the plant, I think, here.
Didn't get it, and should he come back to the table, he's going to have some puzzles to solve. And here has all of his yellows up at the top, and he could put Simon in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, there's work to do here for Ben, because he's not. Is he attacking really? See, I think that's just a risky. I think that just shows Ben's aggressive game, and maybe how his confidence is, because he could have just snookered up in the. I mean, he had so many balls to snooker behind up in the top right-hand side of the table. But if this yellow goes to the middle, which it does,
all the players I would have been least surprised to see attack there, it would probably be Ben Davies. He has absolutely no fear.
None at all, no.
Risk, high reward.
So, I mean, the black's really the key. So I think we still probably will see Ben play a snooker. So because the black doesn't go past the red into the corner, we probably are going to see Ben play a snooker at some point. And that really should open the frame up for him. But surely he's not going to attack, is he?
Well, the black does go into the bottom left as we look at it here. If he can think of a way to get in behind it, then, I mean, in theory, there's no reason why he couldn't possibly clear up here. It's just a difficult shot.
Yeah, no, he's going game. He's going game, and I think you're right. If Ben can leave himself on his last yellow, around about here. So I think he wants to. Ideally, you'd want to be playing this ball last, so that you can come up table. But I'm not sure if he's got the angle to. Whether he snookered himself on the potting angle of his other one. So he's going to. It's just the one closest to the white ball would have been easier to play position on. So I don't think this was plan A for Ben, but he's so aggressive and attacking, and he's. I'd not be surprised at all to see him.
So that's his route to the black from here.
So he's going to play it with bottom right hand side. He's going to come into the cushion, and he's going to come back down. Needs to miss the middle bag. Oh, if he just needed to get into that with a bit more bottom, a bit more right-hand side.
Yeah, he's unlucky.
Yeah.
Because even if he just avoids that by about a centimetre, it probably rolls down into a position where he can probably make the shot.
We're going to see Ben, I think, play a billiard shot here. He's going to. I think he's eyeing up playing the black off of the red. think he's looking at playing the red, the black off of the red. He needs to hit it firm to straighten the angle up, but it's on.
Well, this would be a champagne finish. He doesn't get it.
Oh, wow. Difficult shot, but good effort from Ben.
Well, he hasn't left anything really easy for Simon here.
No, the red's just run on. It's just run on slightly, so I don't think Simon can quite cut the red into the middle pocket, which actually worked out quite nice for Ben.
Yeah, he's snookered on the one over the pocket, which is really nice for Ben because that's the easy ball to pot. The one in the centre of the table is a little bit more difficult, and the cut from that sort of distance to get that bang on half ball was not easy.
Seconds.
It wasn't, no, but it begs the question, should Ben have laid a snooker earlier in the frame?
The shot clock's ticking.
Yeah, just 15 seconds left for Simon. What's he going to do? He's playing the snooker. This could be the shot. What a shot. Oh, he's just left the edge of it out.
Well. Now, as we know how attacking Ben is, I wonder if he's got an angle to play this into a pocket somewhere.
Literally an inch short of being a total snooker, and would have been one of the shots of the tournament. Going for the double. It's there. Good shot from Ben.
We've seen a couple of brilliant shots, and that is no different. Ben Davies really having to pull out all the stops in that frame. He looked like there was absolutely no way he could win that frame after Simon put him in a bit of a bind after he missed his shot, but terrific stuff. Really, really terrific stuff. Let's take a look at the way Simon Ward got here to this final. We've seen quite a few of these games on this table on the Free Sports. Mark Boyle was the first game, 3-2. What an epic it was. You're on our very own Dan Davey right to the very wire as well, nailing him with, and we will get that in a complete fluke to win the game.
Yeah, cheers. Just keep bringing it up all day. It's no problem.
Ben Davies to break.
And then Mark Farnsworth, the number one seed, was eliminated right afterwards here live on Free Sport as well. 3-1, maybe not doing justice to how close that one was. And then in the semi-final, the game against Neil Rayburn, again that one going the distance. And Ben's had a sort of similar run in the sense of they've spent a lot of time in their games here, and neither has had an easy route through to the final. I think that says a lot about where the players are at the moment. Any player can win these games.
It says a lot about Black Ball Pool, because we've a tour number one in Mark Farnsworth, who's on ranking points quite a bit clear actually of second place. And the rankings are done over a two-year period. So, but I think personally, if you've got 25, 30 players that can win this tournament, and probably another, say, at 50 at least, that can beat, say, the number one on the tour in a one-off match. But obviously, consistency is what rankings are all about, and you know, a world number one is a world number one because they are, you know, their B game's still really, really good, and it just shows the sort of strength and depth really that nobody's had an easy route to the final.
Well, let's take a look at the table here, Dan. What's Ben looking for here?
Well, he's looking at reds. He doesn't want to be playing a plant on these two reds now, so you see he's taking the one that he's taken first. Just to get out of the way there, just to clear the pocket for the other red. So it's all about order now. He's actually run slightly out of position, but I think he can get through to this red here. Just maybe. I don't think he can. He's forced into playing a really thin cut. He's played that really well. Needs to slow up. That's good. So we're probably going to see Ben's last ball is going to be at the bottom of the table. Yeah, Ben's last ball is going to be at the bottom of the table here, so it's all about how he gets position. He's going to be looking at playing this red here as his last red, and it's all about the angle that he gets on that last red. So he needs to be as close to it as possible so that he can get position on the black. See now Ben just looking exactly where he wants the white ball to be. It's crucial the angle that he gets on this. He would love to be as close as possible too, which I think he's perfect. He needs to top it through, play at the right pace.
Well, we did see Simon, particularly in the first set, really take it to Ben. He won it 4-0.
Played it off the yellow. That's a great shot from Ben.
And it just shows the sort of confidence of Ben Davies there to hammer that in that sort of style.
Yeah, he may have even played that as well. You've always got a plan B, I suppose, because if he was slightly high, he could have played it with top spin and come through the gap between the yellow and the black, but he was slightly low, which enabled him to play one for the crowd, I suppose.
We mentioned Ben's had a pretty similar run to the final in terms of games. Take a look at those three middle ones against Ross Burney, Ryan Clark and Christian Phillips. We watched that game yesterday against Christian Phillips, and it was a really, really gritty game that really had to grind it out. And today against John, whilst it was 3-0, the first two sets he was 3-1 down, had to win them 4-3. Didn't feel like a 3-0 game. He said that in his interview afterwards. He's really had to work hard to get here.
Totally, and we saw Ben close to his best against John there in the semi-finals, but more of a scrappy affair against Christian, where he really was up against it and just had to dig deep. And if you're going to win these tournaments, you're always going to have one or two matches where you're maybe not at your best, and you need to just get through those matches.
Well, that's a rare sight there. That's a dry break from Simon Ward. He's been pretty good on the break so far.
Yeah, we're going to see a 4-0 set to Ben. I mean, maybe the tides turn with the luck, because in that in the frame at 1-0, where I think it was at 1 each, sorry, Ben's missed the black, and it looked like it was going to leave Simon an easy 2 balls to finish to take the lead in the set. And he just got a little bit of luck himself, and all of a sudden he finds himself 3-0 up.
Yeah, he could have done with that white not quite sticking to that yellow, but
he's fine. He's fine. He'll just clip off the edge of it and take the white over to the other side of the table, and they're all there now for Ben to finish the set at this visit. See Ben's sponsors there all over his shirt. So going full-time this year, full-time pro Ben Davies. Just about made it.
It's a dainty little shot from Ben Davies. He has got phenomenal cue power, but his touch in and around the balls, particularly near the pockets, it's really quite cute.
He just makes the game look so easy. It's just flowing. He looks like he's practicing, you know.
He's got a very natural looking cue action, isn't it? It's almost as if it's an extension of him.
It's as if he's played thousands of hours over his life, and he really and he has, you know. He's a dedicated full-time pro, so he's he comes into these events well oiled, make no mistake. But Ben actually had a really bad ankle sprain about 3 weeks ago now. And he stuck on his Facebook a picture of him in a cast. You know, had to rest up for a couple of weeks, so it did actually affect his practice coming into this tournament. And it obviously hasn't affected it too much.
Yeah, the nice shot there, just to leave him on this yellow. I think he's very straight, so he will just have to play this with. He should just avoid the black. Yeah, you can see it from that angle. He should be okay. Might have to get the rest out of the way pretty quickly.
It's all about the pace of this shot, really. As long as he hits it at the right pace, which he has done, he's always going to have options. So should be fine now. As long as he's fairly straight, he can just stun back a little bit. Not quite sure if he hasn't got enough angle. Seems fine. He's straight down to it. It's good. Doesn't want to get too close. I think we might see the rest out again. He's just going to have to run into this red here. If he'd have just hit that slightly softer, he'd have had a simple yellow to just screw up table or stun up table, but a little bit of danger now. You're not happy.
You might be considering getting the rest out here, Ben.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's just with this, just rest onto the red and leave yourself a shot on the black for the set. Don't try and be too clever with it. Make sure of the pot, Ben.
You just noticed there the way he set his cue up. He wasn't down on his cue as anywhere near the level he normally would. Almost like poking over the top of it. Just wonder if that had an effect on his shot there.
He was worried about the white ball, I think, and as he sat down now, I can guarantee you he's thinking to himself, I should have got the rest.
Well, that's a really good cannon off the cushion from Simon, and all of a sudden he's now only really got one problem ball, the one on the top cushion.
Yeah, and this should go 3-1 now. We're going to see obviously Simon just take a little bit of time to figure out what order he wants to take the balls. I think he's going to come up table now for the... Okay. If he had the right angle, he'd screw up table, but I think he may even leave the 2 reds in the top of the table to his last 2 balls. Players like to generally clear up in areas. You don't want to be sending the white up table, down table, up table, down table. So just need to leave himself a good angle on the red nearest the middle.
Left himself that angle to get at the table.
Yeah, we're going to see Simon come up table. Just get rid of the circle for you. Up table. Needs to be as close as possible. Doesn't want to be hampered. It's just cueing off the cushion. So it makes this missable for Simon, and you're 3-0 down in the set as well. So you really do want to just try and drag this out for as long as possible if you can. Difficult shot.
He's played it really well.
He has, and has recovered it well.
And from a position where it looked like Ben was going to run away with this one, it's going to go Simon's way, and he had to play him into this second set. And those are the stats at the end of that one. Very, very even. And that really is the tail of the tape so far. It has been a very, very even game. Ben guilty of maybe missing more pots.
Yeah, I think that's been the sort of the only difference really at the start, and both breaking absolutely fine. Ben needs to tidy up on his missed balls, but it can go like that sometimes.
Ben Davies to break.
I don't think we've had many breaks, if any, so far, where they've landed really easy after the break. So big break from Ben. Would love to get this set finished off now. Doesn't want it to get close, especially when you're chasing a lead.
Yeah, he got into them really nicely there as well.
Really hit them well.
Ball went in early, so he didn't really have to spend too much time worrying about if one was going to go in. And as he surveys them, looking pretty open, depending. Oh, you could pick either colour here, really, it's that open.
You could pick either colour here, and it's more personal preference here. He's obviously going reds. If he goes reds, then we're going to see him take the red into the bottom right corner after this, because he doesn't want to be leaving it as a plum. So that's what he's just thinking about now. He may be switching he may be changing his mind to go yellows.
Just use his extension, which he often does at the start of a frame. Ben, he just likes to spend a little bit of time thinking about where he's going to play, and then once he's actually into the rhythm of the frame, he doesn't really tend to stop much.
Yeah, and all he's doing now, like we say, I mean, he's got an easy yellow to start as an easy red to start with, but key to Paul is shot selection, and by taking the balls out in the right order, you make the game so much easier for yourself. So Ben's just, all he's doing now is just taking his time, working backwards from the black, looking at the pros and cons of the reds and yellows. He's definitely thought about yellows there, but he has ended up taking reds, so now's going to be his... needs to control the white well. Now we're probably going to see Ben take this red here and come through the gap. back out. And just needs to stay away from the middle pocket. Needs to get across. Yeah, see, I think he wanted to play that with a bit more side. Because he's not very happy with the shot. He may well have played the shot that I've drawn there, because he's too far away from his work.
Again, this is quite rare for Ben, just to really take his time. It's a difficult one for him to figure out here.
He knows how important it is. You know, he needs to finish this set now, because if he makes one mistake in this frame, Simon can go 3-2, and then it's Simon's break next, and a break and dish from Simon will mean 3 each, and then it's squeaky bum time.
It doesn't quite go in. That's a tough shot for Ben. It's another one in the missed pot statistic. This one was a really difficult one.
It is, but he sort of felt forced into it, and I think that the problem really was the shot before. You know, he just needed to get much closer to those 3 reds at the top of the table, and you see he's really not happy with himself. See Simon shaking his head as well, because he hasn't been left anything easy, but I think he's going to take this red into this yellow into the bottom right corner and leave himself an angle. So if that goes down, played it nicely now. He left himself an angle, and what you're going to see Simon do here is go. You see Simon do is go into his bad yellow. So he's either going to hit it direct, or he's going to play it with even more side, and he's going to come behind it. But either way, I'd be very surprised to see Simon not clear from here. This is the only difficult shot he's got left in the frame. He needs to not miss the yellow altogether. Perfect, good shot.
And those two, I think, plant quite nicely. The only thing he's got to be wary of, it's not a straight plant, so the first yellow will go and touch on the move here.
See again there from Simon, he's judged it to perfection. Yeah, so
you can see there he didn't want to play the plant. That's why he's played that shot there too.
Yeah, because if he played the plant, he was unless he played it dead weight, he was going to be pushing the yellow down table, because it wasn't quite a dead straight plant. So that's why he's sort of maybe not played the obvious shot, I suppose. It's a very clever shot from Simon. He's just flicked the yellow first, but a bit of work to do here still.
It's not the easiest setup here for his 2 yellows that remain.
No, I think it's 2 options. You can either cut this yellow into the middle, which is a deep screw, or we're going to see now, risks missing this pot because it's tight to the cushion. Playing it at a pace that can spit them out, but he's played that really, really well. See, it actually did wobble a couple of times before it went in the yellow there.
Indeed.
See, it doesn't go in for, well, it just played it well. Just wants to miss the red on the way back up. It's the only thing that can go wrong. Needs to slow up. Perfect.
Saying in his head there, isn't he? Stop, 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 stop. As that got closer and closer, he's absolutely perfect though in the end. No trouble at all with that one for Simon Ward. He is on the march again. Ben Davies with a chance to take out that set as we tick across to the hour mark. Good chance there to do just that, but he'll have to wait his turn. He might not, of course, get another shot. Simon's break next. This is the state of play in the competition, and this is the last 16 through all the way to the final. And you can see there, especially in the quarter-final stage, just how many close games there were. Even the ones that were 3-1 were very, very tight indeed. And it really does say a lot for the standard of players who made it through to this stage, just how close these games are. course, we get
Sixth frame, Simon Ward to
Ben
break.
Davies.
Trailing
Of
3
course.
frames to 2. Time running.
1-0 lead.
Huge
Simon
break
Ward.
for Simon. Would love to make Ben have to win a deciding frame to nick this set from being 3-0 up, because it's just piling the pressure on, but he's come up dry.
Well, exactly what he would have wanted to do. He's not going to be able to do.
And you see Simon just having a little study there after he's come up dry, because he wants to see whether he's left Ben an easy clearance or if there are a couple of problem areas. You know, Simon wants to know before he sits down whether just how much chance he's got of coming back to the table, really.
Well, what are you choosing here then? Don't you go red or yellow?
I think
30 seconds.
Ben's going yellows, so he's going to play a slightly awkward cue in yellow down the cushion here. Just needs to get the white out afterwards. Use that to go in, and he's just got he has got the white out, but position now is going to be difficult, because after playing this yellow into the left middle, he's probably going to be running into the red, which is going to make position difficult. So ideally would love to miss that red and be able to come around the back of all these reds, but there's too much traffic, if you like. So this next shot, every shot's got a little bit more pressure on, because you don't want to be going 3 each in a set. You were 3-0 up, cruising. He's missed a shot which he maybe should have played with the rest, and then he would have had a black to win that set 4-0, and quarter of an hour later and he's still battling for the set.
He's taking his time on the shot clock. He's pretty much most of it. That one goes, and the cannon off the red is actually quite nice for him. It could have gone a lot worse.
Yeah, he's played that well. Let's see how a test of cueing now. Pretty much full length of the table. And he knows how important this shot is.
Well, he's got an option of 2 here. He could take both on the left hand side. Does he take the top one or the bottom one here?
I think it depends on whether the yellow, I'm just about to point out to you, whether this yellow goes past the red into there. If it does, then Ben just really needs to make sure of the pot, but if it doesn't, he may play he may obviously be setting himself up for some sort of cannon or stun, but it does go, we can see now, so it's all just about making the pot. It needs to be on the next ball, and he's just overhit it. See, you can see the pressure building on his face, can't you? So the yellow definitely does go. I think he's probably going to have to play a double to recover the situation now. No, he's going to have.
Which double can he play?
Well,
it's tough.
I'll try and draw for you. So, you can play the double into here now. Whether he screws back afterwards or screws into the red, or whether he possibly sort of plays it with a bit of stun to bring the cue ball out to here, remains to be seen. You kind of need to be right behind the shot, because what you need to avoid is the double kiss. But I can't really see that Ben's got an awful lot else on.
I mean, the easiest thing to do would be defensive here, but that's not really in Ben Davies' nature. He's used his extension.
He has, and he's looking at cutting the yellow off of the red into the middle, but I think you've got to judge that so well. If you can make the double, I think the double's the shot. If the red was a little bit closer to the middle, it might be an easier billiard shot, but good luck, Ben.
It's what he's played. And he's
Great shot.
absolutely brilliant.
He had to hit that perfectly. If he hits that too thin, it doesn't go in. Really, really good shot from Ben. You see that it went in off of the far jaw, which is as well as he could have played. He still doesn't like it though. Still work to do. He's screwing back, screwing through the gap underneath the black. Good shot. Doesn't want to be straight.
Danger here it might be. I think he's got the. If it is an angle, it's very, very slight.
No, he's got an angle. He would have liked a little bit more angle, but he's okay here. So need to hit these right, especially if you're playing him at a bit of pace. He's cued it well.
And eventually Ben Davies should be on the way here to 1-1 in sets. He blew his opportunity in the last frame, let Simon back in. Ultimately, that looks like it's going to be in vain, as Ben Davies is going to tie this one up here. It's for 1-1, and it's there. Terrific stuff from Ben Davies, who ties things up. We've actually seen a relatively one-sided set twice here. Simon Ward winning the first 4-0. Ben Davies wins the second 4-1. It is very, very close. It is very tight, as we might expect. I should say, but very tight and very close, as we might expect between these two great friends, but tonight great rivals. Third set is on the way. welcome back to Bradford 2018 IPA Pool World Championship final. Missed too much dry break and Ben Davies is into the balls here. It's a pretty interesting table.
Yeah.
Black ball down by the bottom corner makes reds an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, just going to see a safety from Ben, and he's in control here because
Triple snooker.
Here's the break from Simon. Dry again. He very nearly got a re-rack with that black dropping in. But we might just see our first real tactical frame of the final here.
yeah, I think possibly a shot for Ben would be to double the yellow over towards this bag, and you probably don't want it to go in, to be honest, because with the two reds here for Simon and all those reds in the bottom half of the table, which he can't pot because the black's there, really will be so
He's played the cut there. Was he trying to pop that or just take control of the pocket?
No, he was going ultra aggressive. So I think whilst those reds are safe on the very bottom cushion, then they're safe because obviously the black's covering the pocket. Ben really is in control at the moment, so you see that's why Simon's sort of having a bit of a study and trying to think of a way back into the frame.
Well, it's really, really difficult to do so when the black is that close to the pocket, and it's almost like a ticking time bomb at that stage when it's dangling halfway in. The very slightest mistake is going to see him out.
Yes, you see these two yellows at the bottom of two reds at the bottom of the table. Because of those two, that Ben really is a big favourite. Obviously, you've also got the two reds here, which Simon can't pot either. So Simon's got an awful lot of work to do to give himself a chance of winning this frame.
Just trying to have a look at some of the angles.
30 seconds.
I mean, he's used his extension. I get the feeling this is going to be a frame where he feels like he wished he had about 4.
If there was no time restraints on this, you may well see a 3 or 4 minute decision before he actually gets down to play a shot, because I'm looking at it now and I still don't know what to do.
It's just an up and down. And he might well have just succeeded in tying up another red there, but it does clear the way at least in the middle of the table.
Yeah, I think potentially his best chance of winning this frame would almost be if Simon goes for a clearance too early. Is if Ben goes for a clearance too early and doesn't get on it, because the only thing, Ben's yellow at the very bottom of the table only really goes into the side middle pocket. So, I think he
doesn't like that much, does Ben?
And again, just taking a study, and he's probably in two minds. Should I really be going for it? But whilst Simon's got these two reds at the bottom of the table here, he's kind of got a free go at getting them. But this yellow only goes into this middle pocket, so it's going to be key. You need to get on that if you're going to finish the frame here. And like I say, Simon's best chance of winning this frame is probably going to be if Ben goes for this now and doesn't get it, because that's going to allow Simon to potentially snooker Ben and get 2 shots out of him in a free ball.
That's going to miss.
Yeah, and it looked like a bad miss, so he's missed it by quite a bit, but the reason for that is he played it with lots of side spin, running side.
Just so he could be on that yellow on the black spot.
Exactly, so he can get onto his, because the natural angle he probably would have been going into the side cushion and canning in the yellow, probably putting it towards the black. He didn't need that, so the pot was made way more difficult by all the side he put on to try and get himself good position.
You see it again. He just caught it completely half ball, hasn't he?
Yeah, and you can see the way the white gripped after it hit the side cushion. It really almost span at a right angle.
I think he might have tried to play the plan there, Simon.
That's still a really good shot. He was trying to snooker Ben behind the reds there, but this is a good second prize because there's not an awful lot Ben can do here. He's wedged to this yellow, and good luck figuring that one out. But also in that shot, Simon's got one of those bad reds out, so he's just working his way back into the frame.
In terms of the safety battle here, where is Ben going to try and look to leave this ball if he can't play a pot?
Probably. If we stay on screen, he'd probably be looking at leaving the cue ball anywhere down here. Just needs to play at the right pace. Okay, he's hit that slightly too hard, but one of the objectives there was to get the 2 yellows out. So he's now basically got 4 yellows in the open. But still favourite for the frame because Simon's reds at the top of the frame, top of the picture here, kind of blocking each other a little bit, and obviously he's also got this one which you can't put into the simplest pocket because the black's in the way. So Ben's still big favourite for the frame.
I'm just taking a study of the table here. This is a fairly routine pot. Where's the cue ball going to end up? Where can he play next? He'll constantly be asking himself.
Okay, so I think we're going to see Simon come up table. He needs the right angle. What I ideally wanted was to be able to get the white round down here. If he's got the right angle, needs to carry on running. It's just about okay. Would love to have it for it to carry on another inch or so, but may see Simon lay a snooker actually.
Yeah, looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, wants that to get away from the cushion, and it has. And he's also nudged the red that he was next to, which still got the snooker, and he's not worried about getting a good snooker because it's always going to be fairly easy to hit. He's more worried about flicking the red after he laid the snooker, as you see there. So now, although it barely moved, I think that now goes into the top right pocket.
Yeah, it's altogether a very decent shot that from Simon.
Now the hit's not too difficult. It's a good shot from Ben. Because now Simon has no pot. So you see now that red does go after the shot that Simon played, but not from where he is at the moment. He could possibly, it's a very delicate shot, but possibly see Simon plant this red into the cushion and try and leave the white glued to the red almost. He hasn't tried to do that, but he's got the white. He wanted the white to come slightly further over to the left because I think he's left a cut into the middle, but he's still a lot better off in this frame than he was 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, he's done well to work himself back into this. Real thinking man's frame, this, the very start of this third set.
Ben needs to be careful if he does cut the yellow into the middle. He needs to be really careful not to flick off this red and pot the black. That'll be disastrous. I think he's just about going to miss the angle, but the last thing you want to do is overcut it, because if you overcut it, you're likely to be hitting that red, and there's too much danger involved for me. But what else can he do?
That would be the ultimate anticlimax, really, of such a tight technical frame, but one of these two guys to pot the black. Yeah. The shot clock's ticking. You can see that both use their extensions.
Yeah, and he's running out of time. That's a really good shot from Ben. What he didn't want to do is by staying on the back cushion there, he's made it difficult for Simon, but he didn't want to leave Simon an angle to play the red into the middle and come down for his bad red, because from being such a big second favourite in this frame, if Simon does get a half chance, he'd probably fancy him to get it.
Well, that red is available. I'm not sure where he can go afterwards.
Make no mistake, Simon's thinking of clearing the balls here. Too thick? No, just about got there.
Got a little cannon as well.
Yeah, does the red go into the middle?
Oh, he's out. Just take a look at that. It's very close, isn't it?
It's very close. If it does go, he's probably only got half a pocket. And if it did go, then he really, yeah, I think he's lining it up. So that's a good shot. He clearly had a whole pocket. Now it needs the right angle after this. If you've got no angle, you're not getting on the red. Needs to have a good angle. He's worried about running into the red. So he needs to play this at the right pace. He needs to flick in, it needs to be nice.
Well, can he get from that red to the red at the bottom? Has he got an angle?
Well, your natural angle, what you'd love to do, is come down like that, but I think those yellows are in the way, you see. So it's going to be difficult. If there's a way that you can possibly play it with side and straighten the angle up, get somewhere here, and just leave yourself something. But I think the yellows, these yellows in the middle of the table are in the way from the natural angle. He's actually got a really good angle on the red, but the yellows are in the way of what he wants to do.
Looks like it's a fair amount of...
Oh wow. Oh wow.
What a shot that is. Yeah, ripple applause in the audience. That's one of the positional shots of the tournament, I'm going to say there.
He had such... I didn't even see there was a gap there.
The finest of margins for Simon Ward, and at the end of a very tactical, very technical, very tight first frame of this.
This isn't in yet. It's not in yet. Just about dropped. That's a great shot from Simon. How has he won that frame? How?
Simon Ward is going to take it. The black with the easiest ball a lot, but goodness me, didn't he have to work hard to get there.
Look at this. He's played it with right-hand side spin. There was literally a line to go through there, and he had to play it perfectly. If he played that one, he would have potted the black. I mean, that's such a delicate shot. The imagination you need to even think of that shot.
He was described earlier as one of the most creative, imaginative players on the circuit, and I think you've got evidence of that right there. That's a really, really good shot.
For me, he's easily in the top sort of shot makers that we've got. When you're out of position, finding something when it looks like there's nothing there, Simon's as good as it gets at that.
Second frame, Ben Davies to break, trailing one frame.
Back comes Ben. It's a pretty good break, but again, that white isn't the most handy. Let's take a look. There's the break again.
Getting a really good connection from Ben. Going absolutely everywhere, and if only the cue ball landed a bit kinder. So yep, first up we've got a problem area for reds or yellows over on the top left-hand side of the table. So see Ben here doesn't want to flick the red. He needs to watch the white ball. Now just be looking to get an angle to break this out. wants to do that as soon as possible. So again, you want to get into it as early as possible. Needs to leave himself an angle, possibly. Just going to play this yellow, this red into the middle, and leave himself an angle on this red to screw over and break into that. It's an option for him. We are going to see that because playing into it now, you're guaranteed, you should be guaranteed, you don't want to hit it too hard. So you're going to play this into the corner, over here, and you should be guaranteed to be on the red at the top of the table. He just wanted a fuller contact. He's only flicked the yellow, which is why the red stayed on the side cushion. So not a terrible shot, but
he's only going to be half happy there, isn't he? The red's free, which is mission 1, but it's not off the cushion, which was very much mission 2.
Yeah, he would have loved a full ball contact, because if he's got a full ball contact, it's bound to come out good. But as it is, he's in a bit of trouble here.
It's finding a way onto that ball now, because I don't know if he's got the angle here.
It's one of those layouts as well. As soon as he makes a mistake, it is frame over, because the yellows couldn't be sat much nicer really, so pressure's on.
He's going to take this one on just at a very slow pace, and he really wanted that thin just into the pocket, and he's not happy with that. It's Ben Davies.
Yeah, just really unsure of how to kind of clear those up really. So I think there's quite a fine cut for Simon first up, but providing he gets that, is that they're all absolutely sat there. So just to make sure that goes in. Just about perfect.
It's not the first miss we've seen in this final so far. It's been a bit tough for both of them. We've seen a few misses, but there's not really been any gimmies that have been missed. They've been tough shots. And
well, what you find with Paul 8-ball, the English version of Paul, it's much not like our say American version of the game, where the pockets are really, really big. So at the start of the frame, when you see, you can often get runs. You might see, out of 10 breaks, 7 or 8 times, there seems to be clusters everywhere, problems everywhere. You might see another match, we may well see in the second half of the match, there'll be a set where after every break they seem to just land nice. So there's so many variables in our game that it kind of, there's no two matches are the same. That needs to hold up for Simon there. Just okay. Simon using his lengthy frame to lean over there. Others would need the rest for that shot.
And he's in a great position here to make it 2 frames to 0. Which he does. Let's take well there, Simon Ward. Punish Ben. On Ben's break as well. And once again, Ben having good breaks, but just not really getting the run of the balls. He's getting into them really well, but it's just not really going for him. And you can see there, Simon having similar issues. 4 dry breaks for Simon, but
just 1 for Ben. So for Simon to be ahead in the match now as well, with 4 dry breaks, I mean he's got to be happy with that.
It just goes to show, doesn't it, when Ben's breaking, yes, balls are going down, but it's just the white ball in the layout of the table, which hasn't really been his friend so far.
Totally, and like I said, that's one of the variables that makes our game so difficult to dominate. That's why there's 20, 25, 30 players that can win this tournament, is because there's so many variables, and run of the ball plays such a big part of the game. You can break 5 times in a row, and every single time you come to the table, there's problems everywhere. Other times, maybe even this one, let's have a look.
Well, he's absolutely battered into those balls. That was a very, very powerful break.
Look, that's as well as he's hit a break all week. Look at how many balls are right down the other end of the table. Now we'll see Simon's problem areas here. Simon's problem area here. Now, may well elect to go into it straight away from the red in the middle, the yellow in the middle pocket. He may look to take this one first and leave himself more of a natural angle rather than have to punch that yellow in and force an angle. But the key, you just want to get into it first. So that's what Simon's doing now, is just figuring out exactly how he wants to attack that problem area.
Just takes the simple option for now.
I think he may have landed on... He may have the angle to do it now. That's a very, very good shot from Simon. You notice there he didn't play that with an awful lot of pace. You see other people go into their bad balls at pace. Now, Simon's deliberately played that so that he's barely nudged into it, and it's come out really well for him, but he deserved to, because he played it so well. He's actually, when you play it with run inside, you're actually sort of pushing it out, and then he's kind of double bumped it out.
The red there just to help run in and make that pocket a lot bigger, make that pot a lot easier.
Yeah, he's used that deliberately as well, so this really is frame over now for me. Probably got about 30 seconds left.
And once again, we could be about to see a set being dominated by one player. The first was Simon's, the second was Ben's. Simon should be here, racing into a 3-0 lead in set number 3. And this should be a clean-up operation. It certainly has been. He's not hung about. Back's nice and straightforward by the corner. There shouldn't be any issues here.
See there, good shot of Simon queuing under his left eye, his dominant eye. 3-0 lead.
He's on his way to a 2-1 lead in sets as well. Just one frame needed here. A few more games going on at the moment around the tables here in Bradford. The men's competition, not the only competition going on this week. Doubles, mixed doubles, ladies competition as well. Plenty on offer.
Yeah, we also have a seniors event as well for the over 40s, and you get to this stage of the tournament now, and it really is just the final matches that are going on. And tomorrow, conclusion of the tournament, we'll see the finals of the doubles and the mixed doubles and the seniors events.
Now that's the break that Ben Davies has been trying to hit all game.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't look overly happy with them. If we look at his face there, he's just sort of a bit of a stare, as if to say, well, okay, they look okay to start with, but again, I mean, he wants to be reds, but there isn't a first red that he can make, so yellows are okay, but he's just got this problem. Just got this problem
30 seconds
at the bottom of the table here with the two yellows that you can make a plant out of it, but I think he's going to take it first up. And needs to... Oh no, Ben, what have you done?
Leave it.
Lost a frame.
Well,
set.
we mentioned how...
Game and set.
We mentioned how Simon was well on his way to winning the set. I don't think he realised it'd be that quick. Quite incredible. Ben with a really, really unfortunate ricochet there. And that is the set over. Tremendously unlucky for Ben Davies, and he loses his second set of the game by 4 frames to 0. Once again, Ben Davies has work to do, and we'll find out if he can do it after this. Welcome back. You join us just before the resumption of this IPA World Championship pool final. It's been a fascinating contest so far. Ben Davies back in to play here. And there you see the score 2-1 in sets to Simon Ward. Ben Davies belting the black in at the end of that last set, right at the start of a frame. And it's the second frame that Simon's won, and the second frame he's won 4-0. This game really is flying by. We've seen a lot of these games over the course of the last week, and many of them have been slow burners, have taken their time, been completely enthralling, but this one is really flying by.
30 seconds.
I think that's Paul for you, really. So many, no two frames are the same.
This is what we saw at the end of the last set. This is Ben going in, and you might have thought instantly that was unlucky, but should he maybe have seen that, Dan?
As he sat down afterwards, he'll be thinking to himself, why didn't I look at that? Or why didn't I see that? But I think at 3-0 down, he's hit them really well. He wanted to be reds, wasn't on a red. Just, you know, frustration really, and just hasn't given it his full attention.
But he's into these now. He's yellows here, Ben. What's he looking at here?
Well, the problems Ben's got is the red is covering these the two yellows here, so he's going to need to manoeuvre the white ball and try and play in behind them, which isn't going to be impossible to do. But he's also got another problem, which the yellow nearest to the right middle, which is covered by the red. So a lot of work to do for Ben, but the balls are in the open. You just either need to land on them, and cue ball control is key. Or you're going to be looking at developing them, but probably just land on them if you can. It's just, unfortunately there, because of the angle he had, he couldn't get too close to this yellow into the bottom right hand corner, so this next shot really could try and open the frame up for him. I think you'll see him play at right hand side. He may well cannon the black here. Wouldn't be that he took his eye off the pot.
We'll see a few misses in this final, but it's worth pointing out that Paul is a game that it's one of the most played games in the country. These tables that we're playing on here at the World Championships aren't like the one you'd find down your local. They're very tough to play on, very quick, pockets are tighter.
Yeah, they're much quicker tables, and that really is the thing that makes it more difficult, is the fact that when the ball just keeps on breaking, when the white keeps on running, it's so hard to keep good control of the cue ball. And if you've got the white,
see players putting side and drag on the ball to slow it down, and that makes you miss.
100%. If you've got control of the white ball, your pots are easy. So, when the table's so quick and playing conditions are perfect, once you're used to it, it's great. But you just need to keep good control of the white ball, and the game's easy for you really from there.
And of course it's easy for us to of course sit here in our commentary position and think, oh, we should have made that pot, but it's almost easy to forget sometimes. This is a world final on the telly. Pressure plays funny tricks to any sports person's mind. All no different.
Yeah, it plays a huge part, and the fact that, like you say, it is a world final, that Simon's yet to win a world championship. Ben won his first world title probably 10 years ago, if not more, and it, you know, you're under as much pressure as you can possibly be, really. So I think if you think this game's easy, get down your local and try and play to the standard that these guys play to. Try and break and clear 3 times in a row off the break. You'll find that the margin of error that you have to work with when you're playing with tight position, close positional shots, that's what makes the game difficult. Is you need to be perfect on so many little shots that you don't realise the pot's easy. Of course the pot's easy, but if you're just slightly too far or slightly under hit position, it just it's like a snowball effect. You get slightly out of position. Before you know it, 2 shots later, you're well out of position and having to play a double as a rescue pot. So when the game's played at its very best, it can look very easy, but like I say, Paul's one of those games where you've got so many variables. Sometimes off of the breaks, the breaks don't dictate to a dish fest as such.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been the case in this one. The breaks have been powerful, but the there's not been too many instances where the balls have fallen really nice off the break. Simon's got a really tough shot now. He's had a great break so far. This is not easy for the black. Where he is, has to slide it past that yellow.
Oh, he's miscued.
And that's why it wasn't easy.
And we see Simon there, he's just rubbed the rim of the pocket, which he was cueing over the top of, which is the reason why he's miscued that. See, and it just makes it that much harder. You see the rim there was it's above the pocket, and when you're cueing down and you wedge right against it, it does make that a lot more possible.
Ben here will be looking at this, and he'll be very, very happy with his lot. Very, very difficult. And there's also a thing as well that with Simon's cue action, because he does cue slightly to one side, he often a tendency with his follow through tends to drag from right to left a little bit, I find as well, and that might also just have a little bit of an impact the way he tied the ball off the cushion there.
He can do, yeah. I mean, he'll be the first to admit that he hasn't got a sort of a Rolls Royce cue action, but he's just such a natural player. I think you see it in darts quite a lot. There's so many players that say hold the dart differently, but as long as you master what you do, that's all that matters really. And Simon's got such a good natural hand-eye coordination that cue action kind of goes out the window really.
Well, there is the state of play. There are the two players who look very composed and very relaxed. Simon will be internally beating himself up about that miscue, but there's nothing he can do about it now. Ben takes the first frame of the fourth set, and a bit of a robbery.
I think you see there as well, Simon, that the look that Simon's got on his face. It's the look he has all the time, that nothing flusters him. He's Mr. Cool.
This is much more his bread and butter. He loves getting into a break.
Yeah, I want to respond with a break and dish. It really would.
He's not going to be able to.
No, he's not going to be able to. Another dry one. See Simon again, just studying the table, wanting to see what he's left for Ben, and yet again, they look all out on the open. But if you choose reds, you see the reds covering the corner pocket over at the top of the table, but you kind of got problems whichever ball you do. And that's, again, we're seeing Ben just study the table, trying to figure out how to go about it.
30 seconds.
So which would be your choice here? What would be your first instinct?
My first instinct would probably be to play this yellow, try and bring the white anywhere up here, and then... Oh wow, okay, that was a risky shot. It was a very risky shot from Ben, but it's worth it because
that's not unlike Ben in this competition.
No, he's tough to commentate on because he sees the game. He sees the game in such an aggressive way. I mean, he's just all or nothing on that shot. See, he's wasting no time, straight down.
Beautiful cueing.
Cued really, really well.
Such an aesthetically pleasing shot, that, isn't it? The long straight one.
Yeah.
And he really doesn't mess about once he's into his action. He's popping another ball in there into the right centre, followed through.
No problem balls. It's just the yellow here is going to be his last ball before the black, so Ben's just figuring out exactly how he wants to get to that, and then he'll be taking a simple black probably into the middle pocket. He's just figuring out exactly how he wants to get onto that ball.
.30 seconds.
He's just having a little bit of a think about this because the natural angle on the one in the middle won't take him up the table.
No, he'd love to be slightly further down. So he's just stunning back now. So he's actually rerouting because of the angle he had. If he was just slightly further down the table, we'd have seen him play the yellow he just played, but go up table for the two yellows at the top, and then play one positional shot on the yellow that he's taking now. Needs to watch the middle pocket. Oh, that's careless.
Well.
That's careless from Ben, especially. It's a really good chance to go 2-0 up in that set again, and you don't want to be going 3-1 down in a world final when it's only first to four. That could be a big this match.
Simon there actually just clears out one of Ben's balls, but the reason why he's done that is because that just enables him to pop this one quite nicely. He won't be worried about Ben coming back to the table. Simon sees this as a clearance, and that's it.
Yeah, he's going to waste no time here, Simon. He wants to punish Ben as quickly as possible, sitting back down in his seat and remind him of what he's just done. So needs to get away from that. Almost went wrong there, but he's absolutely fine.
Then for Simon.
Yeah, these are simple for Simon. He just needs to make sure he. I think here we go. He's just pointing his cue exactly where he wants it to be. You're kind of lining up there your margin of error. So that's where Simon needs to be. He needs to be at least there. He can overhit the positional shot, but he can't underhit it. Otherwise, the Reds will be covering each other. So they're simple enough, but he's just taking a bit of time to make sure that he doesn't make a silly mistake. He's played it perfect.
He's played that nicely, Simon. And this is a bit of a steal, because if Ben hadn't gone in off and had ended up where he wanted to end up, the two yellows looked fairly straightforward to get then down into the black, and it probably would have been 2-0.
Yeah, it did, and Simon's made him pay, and that's what you have to do. Over such a long format, there's going to be a few mistakes, but you need to make sure you punish them every time.
We've certainly done that. The 1 in our fourth set here. Simon Ward really punishing Ben Davies for this mistake.
See there, it's a really tight angle. He may count himself a little bit unlucky there, but he shouldn't have been near that middle pocket, and you know that couldn't happen in the first place.
We're taking a look here at the women's draw. This is the last 16 through to the final. Michelle Rooney and Colette Henriksen will play each other later on this evening. They both came through semi-finals 2-0. There's been a lot of 2-0s actually. In fact, only one 2-1 result in the entirety of the last 16 and onwards.
Yeah, neither players dropped a set, so it should be a really good final.
Yeah, those two know each other very, very well.
Rather well. Yeah, they've been partners for about 20 years. So
very used to playing each other, but in a world final, that element just alters a little.
It does, yeah. So we'll definitely be looking at yellows for Ben because of these two reds near the middle pocket covering each other. So doesn't want to flick the other yellow on the way out. Needs to stay away from the middle pocket as well. So he's had to play that up pocket weight. And these are fairly in the open. So the only thing really that can go wrong is the two yellows into the bottom left-hand corner. Doesn't really want to be playing a plant on either of those or anything, so just needs to make sure he takes the balls in the right order. Again, just leaving himself as little room for error as possible.
He'll be pleased in a way that he's straight back at the table after losing that last frame, because that last frame will have hurt Ben, and at least now he can set it to right in the way that he knows best. He would be itching to get back at the table to put that last frame right.
Yeah, the last thing Ben wants after a mistake, the last thing you want is to have to grind a frame out. You'd love to just stick a breaking dish on there in 3 minutes flat, and you know, and then it kind of puts your mistake to the back of your mind.
30 seconds.
And all Ben's doing here is just, again, thinking out his route. So he's thinking, what's the most risk-free way? What order am I going to take the balls in? You've got options. You could take them in a number of different ways. But Ben's trying to figure out, going dot to dot, figuring out what ball he's going to be using to get onto the black, and just making sure he's doing it the best way possible.
You know that yellow, the lowest one as we look at it there, into the middle pocket, could easily use the reds as a guide if he needed to, but I think in an ideal world he'd prefer to leave them undisturbed.
Yeah, Ben wanted to be around about here because he then would have been able to play the yellow he's played that deliberately off the red. He would have been able to play this yellow that I'm about to point out to you there. He would have been able to play that first and it would have cleared the way for this yellow. So as it happens, he's got plan B. He's just going to stun the white ball now. Take this one first, and we'll see him come back round. Just needs to miss it on the way out. He's perfect.
Probably a good opportunity here for Ben to seal the frame.
Yeah, he's just coming around and seeing exactly where he wants to be. I think you may see him use the red, so rest onto the red. Just a delicate little shot here. If he just clips the red, it's fine. That's perfect. He just brushed past it. It's for a 2-1 lead.
And he drops that lovely into the middle. Beautifully done by Ben Davies. That'll do him the world of good after the couple of mistakes that he's had. It's 2-1 in our fourth set. This is the seniors competition, and year on year it seems the seniors are getting more and more competitive and more difficult to win.
Well, let me just point something out to you. From that quarterfinals onwards, in fact, in the last 16, Gareth Hibbert was the men's world champion, and I think he won the seniors last year. The quarterfinal that's currently 0-0 just started between Carl Morris and Jason Twist. Jason Twist, a 2-time world champion. Carl Morris, a 1-time world champion. Twist has also won the seniors in the last couple of years. And we've also got Andy Lucas still in the draw.
A few years back as well.
He was indeed, yeah. And Andy Lucas still in the mix as well. Former, I think, 3-time world champion. So there's world champions all over the place in that seniors draw still left in.
Oh, Simon cannot believe a ball hasn't gone down there. We mentioned actually in the first set in particular, he got a lot of run of the ball, a lot of luck. He played very, very well, of course, but that helped supplement his 4-0. Just in the last half hour or so of play, just hasn't quite had it all his own way. Ben's back at the table, and there's only 2 balls just hanging out of the pockets here. And Simon will have good reason to question how on earth they haven't gone in.
Again, yeah, he's hit a very good break shot, hit a very clean strike on the balls, and he's left the yellows fairly easy. There's one thing that can possibly go wrong, but which is the black at the bottom of the table. Now, what I expect Ben to do is he's going to make this yellow. There we go. No, we'll go back. Now, needs to miss that. That's perfect. That's perfect. So now we're going to see Ben play this right hand side, and he's just going to flick into this black. So cut it in there. He's going to play it with bottom right hand side, and he's probably going to go cushion first and bring the black out. And he's guaranteed to be on the yellow in the middle bag.
Played that nicely. Are we hoping the black passes the red?
Yeah, I think if it does, he's only got half a pocket. I'm not sure if he's quite got a full pocket there. We'll maybe see if we can get an angle for it. I think it does go. I mean, worst case scenario, he's got plenty of scope to play on it into the opposite corner. So he may do that. Depends what angle he's got. Yeah, so it does go. Otherwise, he'd need to leave himself an angle on his last ball, and he could play across, but much simpler if he can play it into his bottom left corner. Again, you see, he got into his bad ball early, and it's made the frame easy for him.
It should be pretty straightforward. Simon Ward has not had a lot of table time since that very technical start to this set.
Ben there just asking for the rest. just to make sure. It's a big frame this to go 3-1 up in the set.
I don't think he's going to take the chance again, having turned down using the rest earlier. If you remember, about a set or two ago, he had the long stretch over the top of the table and this looked like a pretty routine pot.
To journey. You'd like to be, when you've only got sort of 3/4 or half a pocket to aim into, you want to be right behind it if you can. But you see there, he's made easy work of it.
Yeah, it's a really close final, this one. It might well be Simon Ward in the lead, but Ben Davies is sticking with him.
Yeah, we see there in the background Carl Morris and Neil Wayburn in their doubles match with Craig Marsh sat in the background, our current world champion. So, talking of the doubles, we've got plenty of matches still to be played, but we've got Rooney and Ross through to the semi-finals. They're only semi-finalists at the moment.
It's the mixed doubles, of course, one of the sessions we're running this week.
And
Fifth frame, Ben
so
Davies
Michelle
to break.
Rooney's already in the ladies' final.
Leading
She's
three
also in the
frames
mixed doubles semi-final as well, along with her partner Scott Ross. Plenty of matches still to be played in that event.
Raise the eyebrows from Ben. He's got one down, so he'll be at the table, but again, I don't think he likes to lie the balls here.
No, another one. He's got a finish on. He's just going to have a shot to play to just develop the area. But there's a tricky little cluster at the bottom of the table which needs figuring out. So, see over here, there's these balls here kind of need figuring out because they're kind of blocking each other in a way. There isn't really too much else that needs to be figured out. So you'll see Ben just take a little bit more time on his first shot of the frame. Again, just figuring out exactly how he's going to attack the balls and what he's going to do and in what order. So that is perfect. I think if I can draw you a line now, it's probably going to play that into the corner. And if he can run into there, he doesn't have to play the nudge firm. He just has to any contact. Doesn't want to flick the first two yellows. I think you just need a little bit more angle on the red that he played before, or if not, to play it thin into the pocket. But so
it's not the end of the world. He's still got time on his side in this frame. He's got a couple of options.
Yeah, it's just problems still to be solved though.
Absolutely. I think the reds to the middle still goes, and he'll try and hold here as best he can. He might have an angle on this bottom red as we look at it here to try and create a little bit of movement. A little bit of an angle though, and he can only just about see the potting angle.
Yeah, and he's tried to hold the white there, and you can see he played the red into the left middle, right into the top of the pocket, so he can hold the cue ball. He was trying to play the cannon onto the yellow there, which he missed a couple of shots ago. That's why he's played it with side, but a little bit too much side, and he's just flicked the black first. If he'd have just missed the black, it almost certainly would have come out perfect.
Could well be end of break. I say that. it wouldn't be out of the question to see Ben try and plant all three of these.
Oh, there's. I wouldn't put anything out of the question with Ben. Let's not put out the question that he cuts that into the middle pocket. I mean, this is Ben Davies we're talking about. He's capable of absolutely anything, and he's capable of getting it as well.
The plant is exceptionally difficult because it's 3 different angles he has to plot and get absolutely spot on.
Yeah, there's also a safety, which he wants to be touching this yellow. That's a really good shot. It's a good safety. Not necessarily broken his reds out, but he had a choice there. He could either push the boat out, or he can play the safety. I think the safety was the right shot because he's 3-1 up in the set. So,
do you think maybe if it wasn't a World Championship final, we see him take that on?
If he was doing an exhibition in his local pub, he would have been cutting that into the middle, and he probably would have got it, and we'd be racking the balls up by now.
30 seconds.
Simon has a similar scenario to Ben here in that 2 of his yellows are tied up in that cluster.
Yeah, and he's just come far enough. Now, it's a clever shot what Simon's played there. As you can see, Ben doesn't have a red that he can pot, but Simon's also flicked the yellow onto the red, which actually went before Simon flicked the yellow into the red. So just another problem for Ben. And with these tactical battles, most of the time you've got the advantage if you've got more balls on the table, because if Simon gets any sort of shot up on the top of the table, then he's going to be able to lay some sort of snooker or leave distance between them. So it's a good shot from Ben, because he had to hit the cushion after contact there. It's a very delicate shot.
Yeah, that's the one thing to remember in these tactical battles. If a player doesn't pot a ball, they have to hit a cushion after contact. That's something which, a rule which new viewers might not be familiar with.
There may be a shot, I'm not sure, there may be a shot to flick off of this yellow and get yourself somewhere up here, but I don't know if he can miss the red first. So no, he's just playing the shot similar to Ben. He wants to leave the ball, the white, right on that back cushion. The aim is not to leave Ben a pot at all. He has left Ben a pot, but it's not easy. As we can see,
Even a shot to nothing either, because that white will end up near the yellows.
yes, I mean Ben's got a shot into the top right corner, but the white is going to be going dangerously close to the middle pocket. If he can just miss it, he can maybe come round table, but wow, good luck. He hasn't got much else. That we may see Ben play a very clever shot here, and if he can just, he needs to be touching this yellow, needs to make contact. That's a good shot.
Just makes it more difficult for Simon to hit off the cushion the further infield.
It's a really clever shot from Ben. Interesting to see, because obviously Ben's such a naturally aggressive player, but when he has to play safe, he's got the brain of a chess player.
Just doesn't like having to use it.
Just doesn't like it. It's just not his way. He's an attacking, aggressive player. But if he needs to get his teeth stuck into a tactical battle, he's got as good a pool brain as anybody. It's just not his natural game. See Simon again. He's just going to try and get the white as tight to the back cushion as possible. That's not tight to the back cushion, but he's covered all of the pots, so that's the main objective of that shot Simon has achieved.
The contrast to where these balls all sat 5-10 minutes ago is huge, but the battle's still on here for supremacy in this one.
They just keep shoving the balls just further up the table. I mean, 2-3 minutes ago there were a cluster of balls down on this bottom side of the table, and they keep playing the same shot, you know, just to oh wow, are we about to see Ben really push the boat out?
He's looking to plant that.
I think he's looking at a billiard. So to come thin off the left-hand side of this red, this is fraught with danger. Wow, what a shot. Oh my God.
It would have been one of the shots of the tournament from Ben Davies. It was a brilliant effort.
Look at this, it looks like it's in. Oh wow.
Just off the near jaw. you see the kids' reaction there in the back of the audience. That was incredible.
Yeah, was it the right shot though for me? I don't know. Did you need to push the boat out? He wasn't on a red. If he'd have made that red into the middle, it's a great shot, but you've got an even bigger problem next.
30 seconds.
Maybe he's just let Simon back into the frame a little bit too cheaply.
Yeah, look, we're on the telly.
Oh, we're on the telly, son. Look at that. No, you're on the telly. No, you're on the telly.
Make sure his hair's first.
Oh, blimey.
It was a brilliant reaction from the youngsters who were right along the line of that pot.
Is that your son, Jamie? Little Jameson
Simon here is well into these yellows here.
See a couple of our Moroccan friends there over for the tournament. I think there were around 10 in total. Position's key after this. Simon needs to have a good angle on this next shot to be able to get good position on his last yellow. He's just about perfect. I think the yellow passes the black into the bottom left corner, so it should be frame over. Oh, he's got a middle. I think maybe he didn't quite pass the black into the left corner. So he's okay. He's played it well, and going to be putting the pressure back onto Ben. 3-2 in the set.
To bounce back out, didn't it?
Yeah, nicely played. To get position was a little bit more difficult than it looked, because I don't think he had he had too much angle to hold for the black into the left corner. So nice finish from Simon, and he's making Ben work for this set.
Yeah, he really is, and that was a set that Ben will feel he maybe should have won. But he just broke the safety battle and didn't succeed in doing so. This is the state of play in the men's doubles. Plenty of good games in that one. Taking Thompson Arco and Harkness Wiley, with Remington Hill and Donkin Bolt going right down to the wire.
Yeah, my picks are still in, Dunster and Boyle. Two of our very best players, in my opinion, and they're still in the quarterfinals. So playing Morris and Jones, I'd expect to see them in the final.
To win a match 7-0 in a quarter-final of the competition, it's pretty impressive.
Big break from Simon. He'd love to just break and dish these and put the pressure right on Ben. He's made a ball. How have they come out?
He's absolutely crashed into them. He just noticed as well, he just moved his ball from the last break as well. He's not been having the best of luck, and we know that players sometimes, when it's not quite going for them, they do just change the angle.
Yeah, we've all got our sort of superstitions or reasoning, and you know, one day you're breaking from a certain spot and it seems to be working for you, and if it's not, you kind of think what's going wrong, and you always want to blame something. So Simon's maybe blame where he's breaking from, and he's changed it up a little bit, and he's made a ball. So
30 seconds.
Tough layout though. Again, he's got an open in red, hasn't got an open in yellow, but just the problem area, and I think he's maybe looking to get onto it straight away. Keep on going. Perfect. It's a really good shot from Simon. So we're going to see him just screw into the gap.
Let's take a look at what he's going for here.
So now we're going to see Simon screw into this gap here after making the red into the middle, and he needs to leave himself an angle. So round about here would be perfect. Doesn't want to be straight. Doesn't want to be straight. I think he's just about okay, but the problem with this is he's going to have to hit this at a little bit more pace now to get the white back down table, and that makes the pot more difficult.
And there you go. That did make the pot missable. The pace that he really did have to play that shot quite hard, and that's so difficult to judge on the cushion there.
It really is. When you play them at pocket weight, they can be quite forgiving down the cushion, but if you hit them at any sort of pace whatsoever, you really do have to be so accurate. It's not, like I say, you see other cue sports, and they do tend to, American pool especially, the pockets are very forgiving, but when you hit them at pace, you need to get them right.
30 seconds.
Ben really doesn't want to let Simon back to the table now, because that was a half chance for Simon to put this set into a deciding frame, and Ben will want to take advantage. Wow, it just seemed...
We talk about playing at a pocket weight. That was just about above that, I'd say. But if you'd played it any harder, it wasn't going in.
You're right, and he's now left himself the perfect angle. So this pot is no gimme, but it's perfect angle to break into these two yellows. He's just about dropped, and it's exactly what I say there about pocket weight. That should be set over now. He's just going to play a simple nudge into the into this red.
Oh, look how early above the cushion he hit that. It just dropped, didn't it? Just dangled, thought about it, and jumped over.
On another day, that's not going in.
Another ball. Here we go again.
That looks in. Seems to drift a little bit, if anything, to that corner. Just about drops.
That's what we've seen these pockets do to these players over the course of this week. I mean, staggered that's gone in.
It has, yeah. I think that's what you get when you've got brand new cloth, brand new table, and brand new conditions. The pockets can be a bit more forgiving. If you've had been playing on that cloth for maybe a couple of months or even a couple of weeks, the pockets doesn't tend to slide as much, so the pockets play effectively a little bit tighter than they normally would. But when you've got brand new cloth, brand new table, new conditions, they can play a little bit more generously.
Quite remarkable. Now, every time I look at that replay, I'm still in awe of the fact that ball went in.
Yeah.
He just needs to avoid the black. He has done.
Nicely done.
Going to tie things up. There we go. Ben Davies has done it. There is 2 apiece in the World Championship final. It's a race to 4. And we ordinarily would be heading into a decider for the rest of this competition, but we still could yet play 3 more sets. Simon Ward takes the first, takes the third, loses the second and the fourth. There's a distinct pattern to this. Set 5 is on the way next. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. Mr. Bradford, you join us just in time. We are about to rejoin the World Championship final. It is 2 apiece, heading into the 5th set, not the deciding set. Don't forget we play best of 7 in this final.
5th set, Simon Ward to break, 2 sets all.
Simon
Time running.
Ward to the table to break, taking on his fellow countryman Ben Davies. There's been a lovely symmetry to this match so far, which myself, Stephen Jameson, Dan Davey have been really enjoying. 4-0, Simon Ward has won both of his sets. Ben Davies has won both of his by 4 frames to 2. The times have almost been exactly identical, so if we're going to do it again, it's a 4-0 Simon Ward set in half an hour.
Yeah, and a 4-0 Simon Ward set in the deciding set as well, so surely it can't carry on going like that.
Yeah, we're just coming up to the 2.5 hour mark now.
Yeah, we're going to see a missable red down the cushion now, which I fully expect Simon to get. But again, he's got his problem area over on the left-hand side of the table, which he needs to get into as early as possible. So it needs this to drop. It has.
And you just see, in contrast with the shot he played right at the end of the last set, as soon as you play it with a little bit less pace, it becomes so much easier.
Simon's got options here. Simon's got options. He can either run the white through, cut the red into the middle and go into his bad balls, or he can run the white through. Yeah, I think that's what he's going to do. So, and he'll just be pushing this red on towards the cushion, on towards the pocket. And you need to sort of hope for the best to an extent, but okay. So he's
actually going to play the shot.
Yeah, his other option. He's going to play into the corner and just break into it now. Now he needs to play this with screw. Needs to hit the right hand side of this red, or the bottom side of the red as we look at it, so that the white comes back out towards the black. But he's gone for the first option, just the other way around.
He did think it was a good suggestion, just
no,
didn't play it when you thought he might.
Well, he had 2 options. He can either clear the 2 reds on the side of the table first, which he chose to do, and then play the shot, or he could have just played the shot straight away. So either way he was going to do that. It's just a case of when. See, he's sped up a little bit here as well, Simon.
Really nice cueing to get that one in. Actually, that was a lot more difficult than it was made to look by Simon Ward, and already he's on the black. This frame is not going to last too much longer.
Is it speed, Paul?
He has rattled through that like he's on a game show. It's 1-0 in our 5th set here. But here we take a look at the stats, and this is going to be interesting because obviously a little bit longer. Simon has potted more balls, that's to be expected, but look at the total frames, 13-8. In terms of frames, he's miles in front, but yeah, we're all level.
Well, that's the beauty of sets play. 2 sets each and 1-0, it's a coin flip, but 13-8 in a race to 20, for example, Simon's a big favourite.
Take a look at those dry breaks. 6 for Simon, just 1 for Ben. That's a big discrepancy there.
Yeah, and that's the reason you see missed pots. We've got 4 from Simon and 9 from Ben. So you naturally assume Simon's playing a lot better, but because of those dry breaks, that's why we've got an even game.
There's the break from Ben. You get 1 down.
The break really has worked for him, and it's kept him in this match, because the stats can be harsh on you, because Ben has come to the table quite often with a difficult layout. These ones I think are a lot easier, so I think we're going to see Ben take yellows, and he's going to clear the 3 at the top of the table first, and then we're going to see him come down table. Right, so this from here really a simple sort of dot to dot. Simple yellow into the top right. Now we're going to see the yellow into the middle afterwards, and then after this yellow into the middle. We're going to go there, then we're going to go yellow into the middle, and the white ball's going to come down table. And then he's going to clear these 4 reds. He's probably going to get on the... See there, it just needs a good angle. Doesn't want to be too straight, because then he can't get down table.
It looks pretty straight there, you know.
Doesn't want to be straight. Let's see from the look on his face whether he's a little bit concerned or not.
If anything, actually, he looks like he's closer to the other angle, which is the opposite of where he wants to be.
I think if anything, he just needed to drop it in dead weight rather than play a stun shot there, but we'll see from the angle he's got here. He would have had nightmares there about the yellow that jumped out in the first set.
Absolutely, yeah. He did have to play that with a little bit of pace. He's ran through quite nicely, actually. You could play it with a bit of top, just to run through. And
yeah, this is exactly the order we wanted to play them in. Just needs to get the white ball out. Don't get too close to the black. That's perfect, and looking good for one each in frames.
Well, both these two are acting like they've got some place to be this Saturday night. They've come out for this fifth set, and they're absolutely flying. Simon took all of about 3 minutes to whiz through his. Ben has not been much longer here.
The irony is that they've probably shared a room 1,000 times at tour events and tournaments and stuff. I don't know if they're sharing a room this week, but it's, you might well find that they actually do go for a curry together after this. You never know.
I'm sure Ben would like to ask Simon a few questions about that fluke in the first set.
Yeah, I think he would.
But Ben has cleaned them up. Nicely done. It's one apiece in our fifth set. And I think that just goes to show that the quality of this final is right there. Both these two playing pretty well. I'm going to ask you now, Dan, where do you see this final going? We're past the halfway stage now. It's very, very close. Very even. Who would you say's got the better of it so far?
I think if Ben can get himself ahead, then it'll feel like a big achievement, because Simon's had the upper hand the whole match. He won the first set 4-0, Ben's dragged it back. Third set 4-0, Ben's dragged it back. It kind of feels like Ben's hanging on to Simon, but if he can just get his nose in front, maybe that could be the difference. Simon's made a ball this time and could be looking at another breaking dish here.
That's the first time feels like the first time in a while he seems happy with his break.
Yeah, they've come out good. Could make an argument for reds or yellows.
There doesn't really seem to be too many problem areas. That yellow over the top pocket is perhaps an issue.
Well, if you go yellows, that's your problem down here. Here's your yellow next to the black. I think he's gonna go yellows. He just needs to. He's gonna play the billiard first shot. The plant, sorry, first shot. Doesn't want that to tie the yellow up. Yeah, we've now got another problem area, but it's not too much of an issue, because this yellow, it does pass into the corner. So it looks like it's tied up, but if he can just get position, which he's just got now, absolutely perfect. Now we'll see him take that yellow out and come back down table. So his only other problem as such is going to be this yellow next to the black. Just going to need to be tight cue ball control and just land on it. He's got 4 options to get there, so Simon just taking his time now to figure out exactly how he's going to do that.
There's a good chance that this fifth set almost turns a little bit into 10-pin bowling, in the sense that they just keep striking against each other. It's the first one really to miss a ball.
But it can happen like that. I mean, these two would have no doubt played each other in local, regional, junior events many times, and you can pay bomb dollar that they've played many matches where they've literally not missed a ball each and ran 5, 6, 7, 8 racks, in a row. Not a great shot from Simon there, but he still has a shot.
Yeah, he doesn't like that, does he? Just wanted to avoid that yellow on the way through.
Yeah, exactly. Just wanted to slide past it. I think the shot he's got a bit of insurance. He's gonna cut this yellow on the bottom cushion in with a bit of right hand side. Try and flick the black if he can. Oh, he's just come from underneath it.
Wow.
I think that could be a real turning point in this match, because they were fairly easy.
They were.
Now,
just goes to show the margins in this game. If he doesn't kiss that yellow on the way through, then he wins the frame.
Yeah, he's big favourite to win the frame, and he's just caught that one a little bit too thin. And this is Ben's first chance.
What's he looking at here on reds?
Well, this is his last ball for the black, so that's what he's using to get onto the black. He's got 5 easy balls. He just needs to make sure he leaves himself an angle when he's got just 2 reds left, so that he can get up table for that red closest to the black. So shouldn't waste too much time. And this is Ben's first chance. It's his first chance since the first frame, really, to get ahead in the match. And if he can just get ahead in the match, you could see him kick on.
This is where Ben Davies is really at his best, when he's got what looks like a fairly straightforward clearance. He doesn't tend to stick around very long. He just gets himself into his flow and gets into his power potting, as it were. He doesn't hang around.
Yeah, he's just underhit that slightly, but he should be absolutely fine. I'll just drop this in fairly. Yeah, he's fine. Now is where he needs to leave himself a good angle. Needs to be here. Doesn't want to. He can't be the other side of it, because he needs to get close to this ball. You don't want to be leaving that a distance. So the key really is just to. It's all about the angle that he leaves after this.
Big shot.
Don't take your eye off the pot, because it's no gimme. It's a good shot.
Played that really well.
But he hasn't got the angle. So now we might see him play here. He's going to play this with bottom left-hand side. So no, he just wanted to be further up. Now I'm going to see him play it with bottom left-hand side, and you're going to see the cue ball check back up table. That's what he wanted to play, and he hasn't. So he's probably going to have to come twice across now, and this really is going to be a massive test. It's 1-all, 2-all. The biggest shot of the match for me.
This is
This is huge for Ben. He can't hold it, so he's got to come twice across.
Played it really well.
He needs to miss the black. Well, he's just flicked it, but he's okay. That's a great shot from Ben. Really, really well played.
Yeah, a bit of a ripple of applause in the audience as well. They know how important a shot that was, and for the first time since the very start of the first frame, Ben Davies enters a lead over Simon Ward. How important could that be? Simon Ward really should have cleared. A little error, the tiniest of error, has allowed Ben Davies to put his nose in front.
First time in the match.
We'll keep you up to date with the goings on around the tables here in Bradford. This is the draw for the seniors. Carl Morris or Jason Twist going to join the semi-finalists in a pretty high-end semi-final lineup.
Yeah, very much. So you've Andy Lucas, a former world champion. Jeremy Hooper was world seniors finalist a couple of years ago. And you still got Carl Morris and Jason Twist battling out just to even get to a semi-final. So both former world champions as well. Oh, and that's dry.
They'll be annoyed about that, because all he would have wanted to do there was just consolidate what happened in the last frame.
Just make a ball. In your mind, when you've cleared those up, you're right, now kick on, let's get 3-1. You know, put Simon Bang under pressure, and you come up dry, and you just feel like the game hates you. It's a good shot from Simon. Doesn't want to flick that red. He's just about okay, because he's going to be using that red. He's going to be using that red probably the shot after this. Cut that in and just break into his. He'll probably just rest on the yellow, push the yellow onto the side cushion, and open the frame up for himself. Just needs to be low. That's it. Just doesn't want to be. If he's straight, he's no good. It's just about okay. Now we're going to see him stun into this yellow, which is going to push the red on, and really is quite simple from there.
Yeah, nicely played.
Nice.
All of a sudden it does look very simple now for Simon Ward.
Very simple, and again, you know, just took a good 35-40 seconds to when he had 7 balls left on the table, just to figure out exactly what order he was going to take the balls in, and now he's done it. He's just getting on with it. He's not going to waste any time in clearing up. He may have come a little bit short there because he wants to get really close to this ball down the cushion if he can. That's where you see a little wry smile there from Simon, because he needed to be on that line. Because now what's going to happen is he can't get close enough. He can't get close enough to that. That's why you're looking at seeing Simon maybe try and queue up and play it with side spin to try and turn it over and get as close to the ball down the cushion as possible. So you know he's having to reroute basically, and he wanted to leave the red he's going to play now as his last ball. It shouldn't be a problem, but yeah, just needs to get away. He's going to need to cue this well, because he's got to play this at pace to bring the white ball back out to roughly where he is now.
Yeah, played that nicely. And through he goes. That was made to look very easy by Simon Ward. And it's been a really high standard in this 5th set in particular. Remember, this isn't our decider. Still a long way to go in this one, you feel. 2-2 in sets, 2-2 in frames. It really is difficult to call from here, isn't it?
It is, but you look at those stats and you can see exactly why. It's 14, it's 2 each and 2 each, so we're tied up, but it's actually 14-10 to Simon, and that's because dry breaks for Simon is 6 compared to Ben's 2. Even though you miss pots from Ben, it is actually 4. He's missed 4 more balls than Simon, but they've balanced each other up, so that's why we're looking at a level game.
Yeah, 3 fouls from Ben as well, just adding to those missed pots, and you sort of stack them up as 1 in terms of unforced errors. Maybe it does explain why Simon, despite his dry breaks, is able to keep that pretty even.
And again, all Simon's wishing for is a ball. Needs a ball, not another dry one. He's got a ball.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that that yellow went in. Just absolutely flew in.
Look at that. Almost bounced back out.
Off 3 cushions.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Simon just checking to see if these are a plant. If they are a plant, then we're fairly. It's a fairly easy finish here for Simon. He's just having a look and a study. Almost certainly probably won't plant if he plays it at pace, but if you play it softly, I fancy those to drop.
Yeah, I think any pace and the bottom red is staying out.
I think we're going to see him go down table and take that now. So if he can get below it. And just get below it now. We won't see him play this at any kind of pace. Be a fairly gentle shot, because just having a look again. So he's fine. The key to the frame is going to be this red at the top of the table. So it's red at the top of the table here. Just needs to land on it. So when he comes up table for either of these 2 reds, he's going to want to leave himself a good angle to get onto that red at the top of the table. That's going to be where the frame's won and lost.
He has got an angle here on this red to move up the table. I don't think he's particularly pleased with the angle he's left himself, but here we'll go.
He wants to get away from the yellow. It's not ideal, so I think the red does pass the yellow into the top left. It's just that I don't think he's got a full pocket, but he's taking it now. He needs to watch his hand over that yellow. He's fine.
Good shot.
Yeah, he's fine. Good shot from Simon. He's used the whole pocket there, and we've seen it a few times now. you'll see it the more and more you watch pool on free sports. People use the whole pocket, so it's one thing potting the ball, but sometimes to create the angle that you need to keep the white in under control, you need to play your ball into either the top half of the pocket or the bottom half of the pocket, and that's one side of the frame there.
Yeah, it has indeed, and these two now, two great friends that battling it out, and Simon is one frame away now from leading 3-2, and this is a close one. It's the first time Simon's been in the lead without whitewashing Ben in a set here in this.
Yeah,
this final.
And we haven't had a set go to a deciding frame yet, so a break and dish from Ben, we'd see our first decider of the final.
Yeah, you can see the piece of that, of this set so far. We've played 5 frames in 21 minutes. It took us well over that to play one more in the last set.
Another break and dish from Simon as well, so. And dry from Ben. Not too many problems at first glance as well, and I fancy Simon to get these. He knows as well, Ben, he's not happy.
There's a problem, it's such a self-inflicted problem, but it's a problem he knows he's got to have, because he breaks so powerfully. If he doesn't pot a ball so often, balls are set up so beautifully for his opponent.
Yeah, and these are even simpler than they look, because we're gonna see Simon here. He's just going to completely open up the frame here. He's going to play this red off of the yellow to push that yellow out of the way, and then that's going to then mean that this red is just a simple pot into the middle pocket. So we're going to see Simon play that now probably, and it really is just going to be ABC from there. Needs to flick this yellow. Good shot from Simon.
Yeah, nicely played.
Simon played that rakes of bottom left hand side as well, just to make sure that he got behind the red.